Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 167. Models Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and working experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. Ow! Could I possibly have more to say? But I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop is going to be making available to pre-order the new Kill Team box. They came out with some more new things for Necromunda, and I took a little peeky poo at the new combat patrols. Now, in terms of those new combat patrols, I do play Genestealer Cult, and I do have my eye on the Sisters of Battle. I have a folder on my computer, and I have a Google Doc that is getting full of ideas of exactly how I want to do it, because I want it to be perfect. And so I definitely have a vested interest in both of these combat patrols. And also, what was interesting to me is previously to this, the previous combat patrols for Genestealer and Sisters were the best value combat patrols that you could buy. They were phenomenal, particularly the Genestealer Cult one. I almost feel like since Genestealer Cult is a horde army, but very, 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 very expensive, it was really nice to get their old combat patrol. Sisters were a little bit in the same boat, where Sisters also is a very expensive army to collect because you sort of need more troops than you might think, and they're very expensive troops. So it was really nice to get fantastic combat patrols. But what Games Workshop seems to be doing is every single time a new army gets a codex, they swap out the old combat patrol for a new one. And so far the new ones have been hit or miss. The Tau one, big thumbs up. The Dark Angels one, big thumbs down. Like, it's kind of been all over the place, but the new boxes, I'm very lukewarm on. Starting with the Sisters of Battle, the old box was kind of built on the monopose bones of the old Sisters Battle box. Back in 2016, when they were getting their range refresh, Games Workshop made a box that was just a tasting of all of the different Genestealer, or the different Sisters of Battle units. And so you didn't get exactly the right number of things, but that ended up kind of being fine for the army. You got a proper Sisters of Battle Rhino, big thumbs up. You got a Seraphim squad, awesome. You got 3 Arco-Flagellants. 3, now that sounds bad because a normal box comes with 10 and a normal squad is 10. However, being able to take a little squad of 3 for 50 points, there is something to it. 3 squads for 150 points with objective control 1 somehow. I don't know how Arco-Flagellants have any objective control because they're literally lobotomized and have no hands. So I don't know how they're planting teleport homers and stuff, but they can. They're somehow better than Ripper Swarms. Ripper Swarms can't do, I guess Ripper Swarms can sort of do secondaries, but they can't do primaries because they don't have any objective control. But yeah, the Arco-Flagellants, I don't like the Arco-Flagellants. Actually, I like them quite a bit, but I don't like them in the Sisters army because the Sisters have Repentia, and it's really annoying that in the same codex, there are 2 different naked, suicidal melee combat units with big close combat weapons who are regular humans who are forced to repent for their sins through trial by combat. They're very, very similar units. And so it's a Sisters army, I want to just do Repentia, but Arcos are so much better right now. And it's if I was gonna run Arcos, I would probably just take Repentia and count them as Arco-Flagellants. Really, to me, Arco-Flagellants should probably have just been in Agents of the Imperium. However, that would probably be a bad idea on Games Workshop's part, because if any Imperium army could take Arco-Flagellants, I and everybody else would, because they're really, really good. And if they were available to everyone, everyone would take them. Where in the Sisters, I feel like they just kind of take the spotlight off of Repentia. But yeah, in the old Sister Star collecting, you got 3, which is actually kind of nice, being able to take min squads for really inexpensive points costs. And 3 is not nothing because every turn you can just pop them up to 6 attacks apiece with Hazardous, so you're probably gonna lose some guys, but you don't care because they're Arco-Flagellants. There's definitely something to it. You got 5 Repentia, not enough. Really, you'd want 10 come in a box. 10 Battle Sisters came in that box, which is very nice. Also 10 Battle Sisters that have different poses to the 10 Battle Sisters you get in the multi-part plastic kit, so I kind of want to track down one of those old boxes just so that I have a little bit more variety in my army. You got a Canoness, which a Canoness is somehow 40 bones. I get that like independent characters go up in price as they go up in power level on the table for some reason. And it almost, like I can almost stomach it when I'm buying like a Space Marine captain who is a head and shoulders taller than a normal giant Space Marine, and you get like this big lump of plastic. Canoness is a little tiny, like inch tall thing. They're nothing. $40 feels really expensive for that. And you got one penitent engine when they are usually sold in pairs of 2. But that's fine because you can take one by himself. It's an odd box, but you do get a ton of plastic, a ton of different units. And so estimated retail for all of those things is $298 for the thing that come in weird numbers. I just divided the number of models in the box by the price. But yeah, $298 for a savings of $130 based on the normal like MSRP price. Really, really good. Now, the new box looks a little sparse. Comes with 10 Battle Sisters, as you'd expect for like a combat patrol. 5 Celestial Sacrosaints, which is like a really nice kind of melee with a shield unit. 10 Arcoflagellants. I already said my piece about the Arcos. They're fine, they're very good. They're exactly the same thing as Repentia, but they're slightly different, and so you never really take Repentia. I guess you get Miracle Dice with Repentia, it's fine, everything's fine. And you get Canoness. And that's it. If you add that all up, it's $220 retail for a savings of $52. That ain't good. It's not quite Grey Knight's level of not very good, but compared to almost every single other combat patrol, not a lot of savings, not a very good spread of units. No, you don't get a vehicle, you don't get anything like really big and fun and cool. I guess the most interesting thing is the Celestial Sacrosaints. Like they're a cool centerpiece melee, like elite choice unit. I mean, I would have loved Paragon Warsuits. That would have been really cool, especially to get them at even a little bit of a discount because they are very expensive. Although if they had just replaced them, it actually would have bumped up the value of this box quite a bit because they are expensive for 3. But yeah, the new box, it's less than half the savings of the old box and less than half the models of the old box. I don't know if Games Workshop really balances these boxes against each other. In theory, Combat Patrol is a simpler, more balanced, easier version of 40K because it tells you exactly what to take and what upgrades to take, and so each box should be balanced against each other. Not true. Genestealer Cult is unbelievably overpowered because they're still using the old broken Cult Ambush rules. So basically, the Genestealer Cult Combat Patrol cannot die because like all of the units in the box get to just come back to life for free automatically, essentially. So yeah, Games Workshop, like they could have changed it. I don't even understand how they changed it without changing it because they fixed the Cult Ambush rules by like nerfing them so that really only your battle line stuff is pretty darn guaranteed to come back. But for some reason, they don't have their documents connected so that when they change a rule here, the same exact rule changes somewhere else. Like it obviously should, but I guess they just leave Combat Patrol alone. Is Combat Patrol printed in the big rule book? Are the actual rules printed? Maybe that's why they haven't physically changed the copies that you can just download for free off the Games Workshop web store. But yeah, very, very odd. The new box is okay. I'll give it a big old fashioned, it's fine. But it doesn't excite me. It's not super interesting. It's a little bit of a letdown compared to what came before it. There's a bunch of different stuff. Like throw a Rhino in there. Maybe that would have been too, like, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to like, there's not enough space because 10 Argoflagellants is what, 4 sprues? Like at some point the box, like all of the sprues do need to fit in the box. And what was beautiful before is because it was built on the old Monopose sprues where they really crammed the plastic into the sprues. Like you were able to fit a little bit more stuff physically in the box, but I don't know. The new Battle Sisters box is fine. Not great, it's fine. And I did the math on that box first. And so then I was really in a sour mood to look at the Genestealer Cult box because the Genestealer Cult box was also epic. You got 5 Aberrants, one of my all-time favorite 40K units, and probably, I might have to check the math on this, but they might be the best dollar per point value in all of 40K because they are expensive on the tabletop. They are Terminator expensive, and they're $45 for 5 in like real life dollary dues. So they are, I have so many of them. And like, I almost have a 2,000 point army of aberrants, of just aberrants, and it's not even that many aberrants. But you get 5 aberrants, you get a Magus, you get a Goliath, a rock grinder, which can also be built as the truck. You get a squad of acolytes, and you get 2 10-man squads and neophytes. That is a proper little cult army in a box with a super cool vehicle, with tons of troops. If you added up the total retail cost of all of those things, it was $295 for a savings of $127. Actually, a few dollars worse than the Sisters box, but still, like the best in the game, the best you could get when that box was available to buy. Really, really good. So that's what the new box kind of has to live up to. And the new box, it's not the same, so it's worse. The new box comes with 2 squads of 5 acolytes. You get the Atlan Jackals, which are the biker guys. Kind of a interesting, not everybody takes it unit. They definitely are interesting. They essentially, their shenanigan is they essentially get to throw grenades for free for anything that they're within 6 inches of. So one thing that's annoying about the squad is they're kind of expensive at 90 points for 6 models, because they have the ATV, the little 4-wheeler guy, and he can take a mining laser, which is a really good gun. Like that one model, the ATV, is a really good model. I don't want a good model in my suicide squad. It would be much better if it was like a 5-man, cheap as chips, just throw him at the opponent and let him blow up. That would have been my preferred thing. But all of a sudden, when you've got that good gun in there, you have to be a little bit more like delicate and balanced with this squad. Maybe have a couple turns of shooting before you throw them in to explode. Like maybe you don't want to just run them onto an objective to maybe contest and then get killed back in the opponent's turn. Like that unit just being a little bit more expensive because it contains one good guy is a little bit annoying. Games Workshop keeps doing this. All similarly with the Chthonian Berserker. It's just a whole bunch of little squat dudes with power weapons or power fists. You want to run those suckers right into the heart of combat. They're a little bit of a throwaway unit. They're not even wearing shirts most of the time. Like, you want those guys in close combat. But then they have the Mole Launcher guy. And the Mole Launcher guy is a pretty darn good gun. It's an indirect fire weapon. You want to use that. But he doesn't want to be charging into close combat. And then you can't like fall back and shoot the mole gun. Like it becomes... Games Workshop, separate shooting units from close combat units, or separate shooting units from like suicide units. It'd be like if Argo Flagellants came with, I don't know, one sister with a multi-melta. Like it would just be like a waste of that sister with a multi-melta, but you're paying for it in points for the squad. It's a little bit annoying. I think Games Workshop does it to make the unit look cooler. Like I think just physically look cooler so that somebody buys it off of the shelf, but in game, it's weird to just have like one really good model in a squad that wants to do something that really good model doesn't want to do. So the bikes are fine. Some people take them. Most people right now for Genestealer Cult are just maxing out on battle line units because the Genestealer Cult battle line units are really, really good and can come back from the dead through cult ambush. So bikes, I don't know. And then it also comes with the Jackal Alpha, or the Jackal Alphys, who is the sniper dude on a bike. Like he's fine. I kind of wish he was a lone operative unit. A lone operative unit that can move really fast would have been badass. And he is okay to join with the regular Jackals. He gives them free move, shoot, move. And technically, you can move, shoot, move your way to throwing the free grenade thing that they can have because you make a normal move. But the move, shoot, move says that you make a normal move as if it were your movement phase, even though it's not the movement phase. So there's definitely some play there, but then your squad's getting really expensive for just getting to roll, a number of D6s equal to the enemy squad and then doing one mortal wound for each 4-up. You might kill, like if your opponent has like a big brick of Terminators, you might kill 1.5, but you're giving up like 150 points for killing 1.5 Terminators. So it's not looking good. It's not a proper trade. It's very specific. It's like a very specific character to come in that box. Canoness, everyone takes a Canoness. It's just like the normal HQ, The biker guy, the biker sniper guy, he's not necessarily an auto-include or the normal general of a Genestealer cult army. And then the last thing that comes in the box is the Achilles Ridge Runner. Very good unit, super solid, moves fast, has a really good gun in the mining laser, or you take the indirect fire gun. It can do like the thing where whatever it hits gets spotted, and then the rest of your army is a little bit better at shooting that one thing. So there's definitely, I really like that it's pretty balanced between, do I take the mining laser for like, it is good at shooting vehicles, but it probably won't kill them, or do you do the indirect fire weapon where it's like, this unit will survive, and that weapon will be able to target whatever I want to give the rest of my army a better chance. I think it is really well balanced between which one do you want to take, and it's gonna come down to your own playstyle, which is great. Oftentimes when stuff has different war gear options, it's like, do I take the multi-melta, which is awesome, or do I take the heavy bolter, which is a little bit better than bolters? This is a very hard decision. But it might be fun. It might be fun to take a bunch of squads with the bolters, but you're paying the multi-melta price. So I do really like it when Games Workshop does a really good job of balancing the war gear options. But yeah, that's what comes in the box. A lot of very expensive things. Those 2 acolytes are very nice to get. Estimated retail is $255 for a savings of $87. Not nearly as good as the old box was, but it's not bad. You're definitely getting a good deal on those acolytes. You're almost getting the acolytes for free if you want the bikes and you want the Jackal Alphas. I mean, you probably want the Ridge Runner, but you probably don't want Games Workshop's Ridge Runner. In my opinion, the Eons of Battle version is much, much better, and it can be found on our My Mini Factory or Printed War Games. But all in all, it's not a bad box. It just really focuses on the bikes a lot, and the bikes are like, they're like an okay unit. They're not like a must include. They're not aberrants, which you're probably going to take at least one in every list because they're really good at dealing with certain tougher infantry that the rest of our army isn't that great at fighting. Where the biker dudes are kind of just good at killing infantry and maybe doing some explosives on a Terminator squad, but also kind of all of our units are good at blowing up, like throwing bombs at Terminator squads, because that's our shenanigan. That's our thing, is all of our basic guys carry demolition charges. And so basically you spawn in, you hawk your grenade, you die so that you can come back to life and then throw your grenade again, which you can do. I've spent so much time like trying to figure out like exactly like, yes, the squad comes back to life. It is a new identical unit, but not identical in that the grenades has already been thrown. It's a new identical unit, meaning that it has the same war gear. I do get to throw my blasting charges again. Games Workshop could have FAQ'd this so long ago, but I guess they think the rules are clear, but I do get my grenades back. I am like 85% sure that I get my grenades back, but the new box, it's okay. It's just okay. I didn't buy the old box because I basically bought the old box 3 times when I started my Genestealer cult army before there was even a battle force. So I never bought the old one, but it was really good. And for anybody who did buy the battle force, or the Combat Patrol, they got a really good deal. And the new one is just an okay deal. Better than Sisters. But speaking of combat, Games Workshop has been going off on Necromunda. Every single week they seem to get a little something special, which is really refreshing. I kind of miss the old Games Workshop shows off one new thing a week. Now it seems like they kind of bundle it all into these big events, but I miss just every single week we get a little something new. And this week it was the sentry guns for Necromunda. They look really cool. They remind me of the old tarantula weapons from Forge World. I don't think they've sold those for years, but you just get like some little autocannons or you get some grenade launchers. And it really reminds me, if you've seen the Aliens extended cuts, there's a scene that was deleted from the original version where the sentry guns are just mowing down like a billion aliens, and it's awesome. And you see the ammo counter just going down so incredibly fast, and the aliens are exploding in the goo, and you'd almost imagine that half the facility would have melted from all the acid blood, but it doesn't. It's just awesome. So that's immediately what jumped into my head with these guys. The rules, I don't know that much about Necromunda. I've only played it a few times, and obviously I've never played with the sentry guns. They're, you deploy them, and then they have a firing arc in a direction. And so anything that moves in that firing arc gets shot. I feel like they missed a tick with this rule because obviously you just don't go in the firing arc. So it's almost like you just put down a wall as opposed to you put down a gun. I think what would have made the rule a little bit more interesting is if it had a random range. Like if you plunked it down and the range was 2d6 inches and you rolled it before it shot, because then there's some actual play. There's some give and take. It might be like, you made this thing aiming right at the objective I need. I might still run onto it though, because you might roll bad. I mean, on 2 dice, the most average thing to roll is 7, but then, maybe it's right on the edge, or like you put it within 7 inches, but you might roll bad. And so all of a sudden that becomes a really tense nail biter of a dice roll, as opposed to just automatic, I move here, I get shot. Like it just makes, I think that would have made it a little bit more interesting. And obviously it's Necromunda. I feel like if there's any game where you can fudge stuff just so that the game is more fun, I feel like Necromunda is that game. But I think these guys look fantastic. I think that they would look really, really good just glued to the top of tanks. Like I think they're just great bits to have. I wonder, is this just gonna be like a pack? Because it's small. Like this is a small amount of plastic. Is this gonna be like a blister? Like, or is it gonna be attached to something else? I'm not sure, but I do like this a lot. I think it's really fun. I think it's really thematic and flavorful. And I think Games Workshop should take my idea of random ranges. Maybe even make the guns a little bit cheaper so that you can bring more of them. Because if the guns are a little bit worse, but there's more of them, that might be more fun than just, I'm gonna plant one down to make a wall, an invisible wall in the middle of the game board. But speaking of invisible walls, you know what has not invisible walls? Kill Team. And finally, we are getting a new Kill Team box, and it is one that I am very interested in, and Nick is very interested in. It is the Squats versus the Genestealer cult. This is gonna get pre-order. This is gonna be available to pre-order tomorrow, and I am very excited. I think these guys look great. I really like the Genestealer cult. They literally are painted in my colors because I now paint my Genestealer cult gray and red with a little bit of yellow. I'm not gonna paint the Magus. I already have 3 Maguses, so I'm not gonna paint another one, but I'll use them for bits. I'll add them to the collection in other ways. Also, what's kind of funny is the new style of board for Kill Team is like a mining rig. And so the ground is red. And so they painted the bases red, like with stripes on it. And it looks like both teams are on a basketball court is what it looks like. It's kind of funny when you think about it that way, but I do really like the look of this box. I really like the idea of getting the upgrade sprue to turn regular Imperial Guard into my cultists. Also, Games Workshop. I mean, I know that the book is printed and it's on its way eventually, apparently, but can you, the way that they did Brood Brothers is so annoying because the way it works is I can ally in a certain number of Brood Brothers, meaning units from the Imperial Guard, but they have to have certain keywords and not have other certain keywords, which meant that I had to go through the entire Imperial Guard index and look for these keywords. And it turns out there's about 7 of like 30 units. It was so annoying. I almost dropped $100 on Bulgrin because I almost missed that the Bulgrin have the Ogren keyword, and the Ogren keyword is one of those keywords that I am not allowed to ally in as the Genestealer cult. So luckily I caught it before I dropped a whole bunch of money on a unit I'll never ever touch. But games are just, it's 7 units. Just put them in the codex. Just have them listed there. And then there's also really annoying things because like technically the Chimera can only transport Imperial Guard keyword units. So I can't put any of my Genestealer cult units in a Chimera like I used to be able to do. Like I'd probably use the truck instead of the Chimera, but the Chimera has its own benefits. Like it just becomes a mess of flipping back and forth between pages, trying to match these keywords. Just make it a list. You could have made it bullet points. You could have just make it a little less obtuse, Games Workshop. It's not that big a deal, and they made it into a big old deal. Super frustrating, super annoying, but I am excited to take these guys, especially because it seems like since they're for Kill Team and Kriegsmen are for Kill Team, I'm basically gonna be able to make my own Krieg squads, which is what I would ally in from the Astra Militarum. So this is gonna be great for me. But you know what else is great? That's right, our Patreon. Over there, we have a new set of terrain every single month, and this month we have the Pestilent Forest. A table's worth of grotesque yet beautiful terrain pieces that'll let you fight your tabletop battles surrounded by the corrupting influence of decay. Huge eye plants, cauldrons of pestilence, rotting creep, and the Great Maw make for a very chaotic environment. And if you always want to be up to date on the goings on here at Eons of Battle and be entered into our monthly giveaways, this month we're picking 3 followers to receive this month's terrain. You can follow the link in the description to sign up to our newsletter. I have been hobbying like a fiend, and for some reason it doesn't feel like I'm getting that much accomplished, but I took a look at my spreadsheet this week when I was inputting a couple of newly finished models. I have finished 207 models this year, and it's only been about 150 days. So I am doing phenomenally. On average, I paint about 500 miniatures a year, and so I am right on track to like hit my average. And I'm gonna have so many armies ready to go by the end of the year. It's really exciting. Thanks for watching.